All right, guys, so today we are continuing on with circles. We are going to talk about inscribed angles today. So in our last class, we talked about central angles, and today we are looking at inscribed angles. So an inscribed angle is still an angle inside your circle. However, the vertex is actually on the edge of the circle, and then the sides of our angle form chords within our circles. So this means that our angle stretches from one side of the circle to the other, essentially. An intercepted arc, so we've dealt with arcs in our last lesson. Well, an intercepted arc is an arc that lies between two lines, rays, or segments. A subtend is when the endpoints of a chord or arc lie on the sides of an inscribed angle. And then measure of an inscribed angle theorem. So this just states that the measure of an inscribed angle is 1/2 the measure of its intercepted arc. So remember, you can always pause this video, take a minute, copy down those definitions if you need to, but I'm just going to continue on. So now we're getting into some examples, and we need to find the different angle measures. So the first one we need to find is the measure of angle T. So angle T is this angle right here. So that angle actually extends all the way out, right? So it goes all the way to here and all the way to here. So then what you take note of is this intercepted arc. So this arc that is formed from the endpoints of that angle. So this is the intercepted arc. So what that means is that this angle T is half of this outside arc. So to find angle T, we will do 48 divided by 2, which will give us 24 degrees. Let's do a different color. So then our next one, we need to find the measure of arc QR. So now we need to find this measure here. So we need to find this outside guy. So this is where you kind of have to start looking at the bigger picture and figure something out, because we don't have an angle measure that would help us find that arc measurement. But something that we should take note of is this guy right here cuts our circle in half, right? This line here cuts our circle in half, and half of a circle we know is 180. So that whole half of the circle must be 180. And then notice that we do know this angle measure. Well, this angle happens to match up with this arc of TQ. Since we know the angle and not the arc, we're going to take 50 and multiply it by 2, which gives us 100. So that means that QT is 100. And we know that this entire outside piece here has to be 180 because it's half a circle, right? Well, we have TQ, and the whole question is asking us to find QR. So to find that, we would just do 180 minus 100, which gives us 80 degrees. So with these arc measurements, that's not, especially with inscribed angles, it's not always straightforward. So sometimes you have to do a little legwork in order to find the pieces that you're missing. So you have to look at things that we know, how we can kind of find all of the pieces so that you can find whatever you're looking for. Okay, so we have another one. So this first one, they want us to find the measure of DG. So DG is this angle out, or not angle, this arc out here. Well, that arc, notice it goes with this inscribed angle. Remember, if we have the inside angle measure, we just have to multiply it by 2 to get the outside. So DG is 80. And then we need to find the measure of angle G. So angle G is here. So we need to find this inside angle. And notice that it goes with this arc of EF. If we know the arc measurement and we are going inside to the angle measurement, we have to divide by 2. So 58 divided by 2 is going to give us 29 degrees. So if you know the arc and you're looking for the angle, you divide by 2. If you know the angle and you're looking for the arc, you multiply by 2. In this next one, it says to find the measure of arc RS. So this arc right here. And the measure of angle STR. And then it says, what do you notice about angle STR and angle RUS? So let's start with finding the measure of arc RS. So RS, notice, goes with this angle U, right? Everything matches up there. The endpoints of the angle help to form our arc. So to find RS, you would just have to do 31 and multiply it by 2, which gives us 62 degrees. And then it asks us to find the measure of STR. Well, STR also happens to match up with the same arc measurement. We now know that SR is 62. So to find angle STR, we would just take that and divide it by 2. So remember, if we have our arc measurement and we're going into our angle, we divide by 2. And we get 31 degrees. So now to answer the question, what do you notice about angle STR and RUS? They're the same, right? They ended up being the same, and they even matched up with the same arc. So they have the same angle measurement, and they match up with the same arc. To which this actually turns into one of our theorems. The inscribed angle of a circle theorem. So this just states that if 2 inscribed angles of a circle intercept the same arc, then the angles are congruent. Which makes sense. We just showed the math side of it, of how we had an arc measurement, we could divide by 2 to get our angle measurement. And in order to find that arc measurement, we had to take our inside angle, multiply by 2 to get it. So we proved all of that already, but now since there's a theorem for it, it kind of makes work a little bit easier when it comes to solving some of these problems. Like these next two. So it says, given that the measure of angle E is 75, find the measure of angle F. So what we want to look at is our arc still. So angle E is 75. Well, angle E matches up with this arc measurement, right? Because here's angle E, and it matches up with that arc. Well, then notice to find the measure of angle F intercepts the same arc. So that means that angle F is also going to be 75 degrees. And in example 2, again, kind of the same idea. So they tell us angle C is 68. Angle C goes with arc AD. And then to find the measure of angle B, notice that angle B also intercepts the same arc. So without even having to find the arc measurement, since they both intercept the same arc, we just know that angle B is also 68 degrees. All right, and then if we were in class, I would have you guys do these ones on your own. However, since we are not all together, we will just kind of cruise through these really quick. So it says, find the measure of the red arc or angle. So based off of everything we've learned today, we just have to find these measurements. Since we are looking for this angle measure in the first one, that means we're going to take our arc and divide it by 2 to get 45 degrees. In number 2, we are looking for the arc measurement. So we will take 38 and multiply it by 2 to get 76. And then the last one, not quite as easy. So our red angle that we are looking for goes with this arc of ZW. We'll notice that our angle Y also happens to have the same arc. So that means that angle X is 72 degrees. And that's all for our notes today.